This episode is brought to you by Stank on Your Breath Mints. Because while love is blind, she can still smell. Stank on Your Breath Mints. Put some mint into your commitment. Hello. Welcome to another Brownie Sunday podcast episode. This is Corey.
And this is Jalen.
And so we watched Love is Blind Season 2, which is on Netflix right now.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that, Jalen, what do you want to talk about that happened this week? You want to share anything? Or?
Well, it was nice getting out and getting some sun today.
Yes.
We went to Santa Monica. Mm-hmm. For those that don't know Santa Monica, look it up. No kidding.
It's where the Parkers lived, and they went to school.
Oh my God, the Parkers
at Santa Monica College.
Also, is that LA pier that everyone knows about, the Santa Monica Pier.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been there in a long time.
That's true. It's like one of those things that my cousin Jamal, he said it best. He was like,
oh yeah,
when you move to LA, when you actually live there, you don't see the big like landmarks or like touristy attractions anymore. Like you see them when you visit, and then you don't ever see them again.
Yeah.
Like you put it.
I want to be the one that sees them though. I'm starting to realize that because LA is so big and vast, it's nice to be able to get out and see the cool things sometime and be a part of that touristy life, but not I guess because we live here, we know the times to go, so it's not super packed or super crazy.
But also, I feel like you didn't really get to see a lot of stuff because remember when we first moved here, you actually had a job already lined up.
That's why.
So you were working like literally. I feel like 2-3 days in.
Yeah. I think it was the first week. Nope, it wasn't the first week.
It was like days.
It was days,
And so you were working a lot, and I was still looking for a job and stuff. So I got to do more things, see more things. You had only visited one time before.
That's true.
So it's not like, you got to come here multiple times.
I was really going in here blind. It's like following the dream. It's going to be great, I swear.
So
the movies weren't lying, right? What if they was lying? What about the movies that was like, Hollywood's great, it's fun. LA's fun, and then I get there and it's trash.
And it's different. It don't look nothing like it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way a lot of people feel about downtown LA. So.
I mean, we did come from one of the best downtowns ever. Yes, so it's kind of hard to be like, now you're here.
Right, that's true.
That's
Chicago's a beautiful downtown.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, though, I realized while we were out today that just things that I missed that I didn't realize that I missed, being locked up for so long for the pandemic.
Oh, God. And
because we were locked up. We were locked up by choice, locked up by design as well.
Yeah.
But,
yes.
we were staying home for real. Like, we were like, the bunker
intense.
door is closing.
It was intense.
But I just realized a lot of things that I missed. Like, just simple, like, going out, walking around, really, eating somewhere, like, window shopping, because I didn't get to shop. But
well, you did buy a sweater.
I did,
a hoodie.
but you know what I mean. I wanted to shop.
I mean, we all want to.
I want to have stacks.
We all want to
have stacks and just like drop them on the counter.
But then at the same time, you really remember the occasion because you got the one thing, and whenever
That's
you wear
true.
it, you're like, oh, it was great.
Oh, this is when we went, right?
Yeah, as
That's
opposed
true.
to getting a bunch of things, and you're like, well,
I don't care about them.
It doesn't matter.
Just add them to my closet.
That's what I'm saying.
Although I do wish for that day.
Of course. I'm not saying I don't want all the glasses.
Oh, God.
Audiences don't know. I love wearing glasses.
Yeah, different types
with
of frames.
contacts behind them.
Stop.
These
Non-prescription.
are the secrets. Non-prescription. I'm giving you all the secrets, the swag.
I'm going to be like that, though. When I eventually get LASIK, I'm going to have glasses, stylish glasses, just for,
of course,
fashion.
Because they're saying something.
But I can't wait to have LASIK, so I don't have to wear them.
You know what I'm saying? They say something about you when you wear them.
That's true.
You can be different people.
That's true. Well, okay. Enough small talk. Let's get to business.
I
What the people? What?
I thought you were gonna say big ideas.
Oh, God.
And I was like, oh.
No, let's get to what the people came here for. And that is Love is Blind. You came to listen to what we saw. and what you saw. Hopefully, if you did see the episode, before we start, there will be spoilers. We're gonna spoil it, right? Did we decide? We're gonna spoil
it
everything. Yes, we're gonna spoil everything because it's just like there's so much happened. So yeah, if you don't want to hear that, go check out some previous episodes. We got Dream Girls. We've got Thunder Force. Independence Day.
Coming to America.
Yes.
And this is on the 2. It's the second
Exactly.
one.
So listen to those and then come back here when you've done listening, watching season 2 of Love is Blind. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay. All right. So let's explain what Love is Blind is for anyone who's listening that's like, I don't mind, spoil away. I've never seen this show. Do you want to take that?
Sure.
Describe what happens, what it's about.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Got it. I got it. So, Love is Blind. It's the whole goal of the show is to ultimately find the love of your life and someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with. However, the trick here is that you won't see them before a proposal is made. So, how it's set up is they have, I believe it's 14 pods, right? 7 and 7?
15.
15.
15.
15 and 15.
15 men, 15 women.
Yeah. And what they do is they have different meetings over the course of about 2 weeks, right? Or something like that?
10 days.
Is it only 10 days?
Yes, 10 days.
I
remember them
you're
saying
right.
that.
Right.
10 days.
You're right. Wow. So 10 days. And you have to decide whether or not you feel close enough throughout your conversations to marry that person. And a proposal is either made or not made. Mm-hmm. And after a proposal is made, if it is made, you see that person for the first time in person. That kind of worked out. I didn't mean to say it like that, but hey, it works out. And from there, you kind of have to take the time to decide whether or not you have a physical connection with them. And they go on a romantic vacation to
Mexico.
Was it Mexico last season too?
I don't remember. I do know it was Mexico, but I can't remember. I think it was Mexico last season too.
Yeah, they have a deal. They have a deal with Mexico. Yeah.
And that's 4 days, so that concludes the 2 weeks.
That's what it is.
4 days.
I knew it was a 2-week thing. And then from there, they take each other to meet each other's families and get that whole introduction out the way.
Get the blessing, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Oh, they move in together.
Oh yeah, they move in together first.
Yes.
Then they get the
go
time
visit
with
the
family.
parents.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this leads up. I'm really either out of the pods for. Is it 3 weeks?
I think they have 3 or 4 weeks after that, after they leave Mexico, to get to know each other and everything and plan the wedding. Yeah. They have to plan the whole wedding within that time. Of course, the show is paying for it and, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
But you still have to plan it and go through that process with that person. And then the most important part of this whole thing is when you go have the wedding. At the wedding, you have to decide in front of everyone, your friends, your family, the camera crew, okay? Everyone who's going to eventually see it on Netflix. Whether you want to say I do or I don't, like you have to decide there at the altar. And yeah, a lot of couples you think may get married, don't get married, and ones you think won't, they do. It's crazy. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
So
it's a fun lot though.
It's fun to watch. I would not want to be in that situation.
Oh, no.
It's fun to watch.
Absolutely not.
Just because it's such a short period of time. It's like, okay, I'm not saying that you can't know someone is the one. I firmly believe in, like, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
I believe that 1,000%.
For sure.
And that could be the first time you see them, the first time you hang out, whatever. But I still think it's like so early to then make a lifelong commitment. Yeah. It's so soon. Like if they did it for a year, like let's say they lived together for a year after they do the whole behind this wall thing, getting to know each other, talking, proposal, vacation, moving in. But I think if they lived together for a year and then they had the wedding, that would be like, okay, they've been through 4 seasons, They've really gotten to know each other. What do you think? I think then it would be more like, okay.
Oh, yeah. I think so, too. I mean, a year is still a short amount of time.
Yeah. But I think you can make a fair assessment, maybe. A better assessment.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that it's kind of hard to determine what can happen in a certain amount of time to make you see whether or not they're the one or not. Because I really do feel that you determine whether or not someone is the one based on how they react in certain situations, both that primarily involve you or primarily involve them or something that you do together. So I feel that a conversation and getting to know someone, although it may be cool, it's great, situational behavior, I feel, is the key to really see whether or not you all are a good fit.
And you think you need longer than a year for that? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because I picture any number of things happening in a year and feeling like that I would need to see more. For lack of a better expression. I can't think of a better expression right now.
Well, I'm glad that we have differing opinions because I actually don't agree. I think a year, if you're really being open and honest and mature and about what's the relationship, and also if you have enough, I want to say, if you're in a place where you can say, you know what, if this doesn't work out, I'm not going to just try to make it work because I want to be married. I feel like if you're in that place, a year is enough because you can tell a lot about a person from how they are, you know, the difference from 1 month of knowing them to 12 months.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
you start to see things if they're cracks or red flags early on.
yeah, I feel that. I feel that that's true. However, depending on, I really do feel like it's about the time because there is certain things that could happen that would encourage someone to exhibit some type of behavior that you wouldn't even think possible from them. And it's like, for instance, if you all are going somewhere and your car breaks down in the middle of nowhere.
Like what happened to us.
Like what happened to us. Yes. That person that's in that car next to you at that moment, when you don't know which way is left, that's going to be a different person than y'all been living in Santa Monica for the last 3 years. Both of y'all have had jobs. Everything's been fine. No one died. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I mean, I really think it is situational.
I just think there are little micro things, like not as that drastic, but there are little micro situations that happen within a year's time that can show you how that person is under stress. Even if they have a good job and stuff, there's going to be stress with jobs. They're going to be stressed from family.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you move in that time. There's stress from just moving down the street to another place, you know? But I totally agree with you on, I think you should have more time is better. I'm just saying, I think in a year, if you wanted to, really, some people would be at that level where they could actually say, I can tell in a year's time if this is someone I should be with. But yeah, so with that in mind, anyway, we're going to take a very short break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we are going to be talking more specifically about the couples that were formed during this season of Love is Blind, Season 2, hosted by Vanessa and Nick Lachey. So yeah. Be right back.
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode, make sure to hit the subscribe button and follow us on Instagram at Brownie Sunday Podcast. We've got fun content, quizzes, and more. Now, back to the show. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to Love is Blind, Season 2.
Love is blind.
Okay.
And it'll take over your mind. Do you remember that song?
I
Alicia
vaguely
Keys
do.
Wait, was it Eve?
I feel like you played it for
Alicia
me before.
Keys. It was Eve and somebody else. It was Eve and Faith Evans, I think.
Oh, okay. I think you've played it for me before, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I just remember that song.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Great song. So, our first up, thing we want to talk about related to the show, is the fact that the people come to the show with the marriage intention in mind.
Yeah.
They know that going here is to find the person that they're going to be with for the rest of their life and do the whole marriage thing. Because I think that's important too. The fact that they're actually legally getting married.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, we're just partners for
It's not
good.
just a stunt for TV.
Yeah.
They're literally getting married if they say I do.
Yeah, it's intense.
And they know that coming in. Like,
Yeah.
I may find someone and, you know, it's not just to date and figure out, do I want to just continue to see them? It's like, no, you have a choice to make.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Do you feel that because they go in with that intention, that they does it still feel like pressure even though they know that's what they want to go into? Oh, and also this. Do they feel that this would be a romantic story or something crazy that they can tell their future kids or whatever? So they were like, let's do this type of way of
Yeah.
finding someone?
I say yes and yes. Because,
Yeah.
okay, so to answer the first question, yes, I do think there is added pressure. Like, I think they go in just saying no pressure. But then when you're there, of course you're thinking, I got to make sure I find, there some people I know have that pressure probably of I got to find the person. Like, I'm going on this show, I better find this person. I'm putting myself through all this and trying this experiment, something I've never done. I'm basically gonna decide to marry someone before I even see them. Then yeah, I think that there is that pressure to hopefully find someone. I hope the producers aren't putting pressure on them.
One would hope and
But
pray, but we're not sure.
right,
That's
but well, we don't know, right? But the second question was what was it again now? The second question, the second part. You said after they go into this, do we feel?
Oh, do they feel that they're doing this
Oh, is this so
to have
cute?
a
A nice
romantic
romantic story. I think, yeah. If it happens, they're like, that would be an amazing story to say.
Yeah.
I met your, father through a wall, and then we ended up, being happily married now for 30 something years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about this recently.
I don't think they go there just for that. That's like an icing on the cake.
Yeah, I think so too. I thought about this recently. Because of the whole romanticization, that's not the word, but whatever.
I don't think it is.
Is that a word?
Maybe.
Maybe. Anyway, of marriage and the whole story, the fact that it has to feel this grand connection in the atmosphere. Do people miss good relationships because it may not be that? Like, what if you met at a library and you all were sharing, the same aisle of books? It's not like a huge thing. Then
Yeah. I will say, I think, yeah, definitely. I think there are people who are missing a lot of things because they think that their relationship is supposed to look a certain way, you know? Okay, here's an example. Jared and Ayanna. Okay.
Yeah.
So Jared and Ayanna, they hit it off really well. By the way, this season was filmed in my hometown in Chicago.
In my claimed home,
oh my
Chicago.
gosh.
Claim
So native Jared. But Jared and Ayanna were like seemingly they hit it off so well right away, telling each other things that neither of them had really shared with anyone else.
They didn't share it with anyone else. They were the deepest.
Yeah, like Jared shared about how he almost lost his life, before, and Ayanna shared some traumatic past experiences, and not even just that, they just laughed easily with each other. They had great conversation. But then, with Malorie, he also forged a connection, but you could tell it wasn't as deep. They kind of talked about more on the surface things,
Yeah.
Do you own any property?
Yeah.
What do you? Oh, you own a 2-flat? Oh, I own a condo. Cool. What do you do?
What if he talked about the barber
What kind
chair?
of jewelry do you like? What, the barber chair?
Yeah.
No, he didn't talk about the barber chair with Malorie. He didn't. He did not. Ayanna knew all about the barber chair. She knew about the different clippers. She was like, you use a 6 or a...
Yeah, because she get her hair cut.
I don't know. But that's what speculation. But, it was more on the surface with Malorie. And it seemed like because what ended up happening was he chose Malorie first. He talked about what kind of jewelry do you like. Oh, gold jewelry with Malorie. So it's just stuff that wasn't as like, something that you can build like a solid foundation of marriage on. But he ended up choosing her. And
he gave her tacos.
Right, he did a Taco Tuesday when he proposed. Okay?
Stop. He did.
He did.
I hope
he
it was a
like,
Tuesday.
There was the tacos there, and it probably was.
Them tacos was good.
Anyway,
too.
we get off the topic. Talk about the tacos. So he, asked Malorie if he would propose to her. Would she say yes? And to everyone's surprise, she said no. She said she made a deeper connection with someone else that wasn't him. And he was like distraught.
Shook.
Okay, he was crying.
Everything was left.
He literally bawled like a baby, okay?
What the? He had the towel on his mouth?
Yes. to cover muffle his screams.
Let it be, bro. Just express.
But I think Malorie knew, like, dude, we're not that deep with each other. But for some reason, he picked her. And I think, going back to your point, it was like, I think that this is the type of person I should be with. She's more established. She's a homeowner. She's this. Ayanna was still, wanted to go to grad school. So, she had ambitions of continuing her education and things. She wasn't as far along in her career as Jared and Malorie. So I think he just counted her out for that reason or something. And she even mentions that later. She's like, is that why you chose Malorie over me? Because guess what, y'all? He didn't propose to Ayanna. Second. I don't know how soon after he proposed to Malorie he proposed to Ayanna, but he did.
They made it seem like it was in the same because it was
a day or two.
It was counting down. Remember?
Yeah,
there wasn't a lot of time left.
The time was running out to propose to somebody.
So it had to have been a day or two.
I feel like it was. But here's the thing, he did tell her, hey, I proposed to someone else. He was open, but he was like, it was between the two of you. It was very close. It was very close. But to Ayanna's, to her point, she was like, so now you're asking me? And she had to think about it. But she chose to give him a shot. But there's an example, I think, of when...
she is stronger than me. I would not have done that.
So, okay, that leads me to this question, okay? This is a great question I feel like we should ask. As far as Ayanna and Jared, can you be with someone and ever feel like you're their number one if initially you were like their second choice? Like if it was a situation where they had to choose?
Well, no, because you were the second choice.
What do you mean?
I think that it'll never change.
Yeah.
Because
I thought you were saying I was the second choice. That's why I was like, what?
Oh, no. God.
I was very confused. I'm like, I know I was your only one golden choice.
Okay, you made yourself sound like a goose or something. Every time I hear golden, I immediately go to goose. I don't know why.
But that's why I was confused. You meant the proverbial you. Like when we're talking about people, when we say you.
Yeah,
But it's not you. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't think anyone can ever feel like the prize when they were like the runner-up?
Yeah. Because why? Because whenever it comes up in any way, shape, or form, the proposal.
Yeah. That's true.
They will always know.
Dang, hold up.
That they were second.
Wait. I didn't think about that.
Always know.
Whenever the kids ask for the proposal story,
time.
whenever the friends, if they haven't watched Netflix, whenever the friends
if they see
ask,
a K Jewelers commercial while they eating their chicken wings.
anytime they watching a TV show and someone gets proposed to, you're right, it's going to be in the back of their mind. He's not going to say it out loud. Jared's not going to say it.
I think
Ayanna's going to think it.
Let's put it this way. I think Jared won't even think about it after a while.
Dang.
Because he the one that had two. So he not stressed.
Dang, you're right. He was in the, dang.
He ain't stressed about it. He still came up.
And he still got the girl.
Also
Either way.
Because it made me mad, Ayanna didn't get tacos or chicken and waffles.
Okay, so Jalen talks about this, y'all, all the time. About the fact that when he proposed to Ayanna, he did not have a special, he didn't have anything out like tacos like he had for Malorie, the Taco Tuesday thing. I think he even had did he have a little gift or a little box in there?
It was a drink. He had a drink,
yes.
too.
Ayanna didn't get that, okay? So that leads me to believe, okay, we're very passionate about, we love Ayanna.
We do.
She's wonderful. So I just feel like, me personally, I mean, she made her choice. She chose Jared. Kudos to her. That's what she wants. But me, I'm Ayanna's friend. I'm mad. I'm mad.
Oh, me too.
I still think, just the way looking back, like you said, he did not put as much thought into her proposal. And it's like, if you really cared for her, and it was just it was so close and maybe I made the wrong decision, because maybe he did realize I made the wrong choice by choosing Malorie, okay? But in that moment, you didn't give Ayanna your best, Maybe
Did he even get on one knee?
I don't
remember him on a knee. That's to be fact checked. Fact check that later,
I'll write
y'all.
it down. I'll write it.
I don't remember him on a knee. Well, his energy wasn't on a knee, if nothing else.
And
he didn't have knee
honestly,
energy.
to me, his energy afterwards wasn't very, to me, like, I'm rolling out the red carpet. Okay,
no.
now you know what? Now that we're talking about this, I think we should go into the Jared, Ayanna, Malorie, Sal love square.
Oh,
okay,
God.
it wasn't even a triangle; it was a square.
Yeah.
We need to talk about it because it was such a big this was like, to me, the biggest storyline of the season,
I
right?
agree.
So
It was too much as well.
so after Jared, go ahead. What you gonna say? What you gonna say?
This whole situation was wild.
Yeah, it was
Just
messy. It
top to
was real
bottom,
messy.
every which way.
Okay,
I
let's.
really wish, before we get into it, I just wish that Sal would have found Ayanna. I'm gonna just put that out there and let that simmer.
I know, but you know what? I don't think they found each other.
It
Honestly,
wouldn't work because they all talk to each other.
yeah. So they didn't make that. That spark wasn't.
I think that's the. There's gotta be a happy ending. You know what I'm saying? That part of me is like, well, what if they were together?
I know we both wanted them to be together, Sal and Ayanna, but you
Yeah.
know. So back to Jer Bear
Oh,
and
God.
Mal. That were their pet names for each other.
Was it
Jer
Mal?
Bear
Was it
and
Mal Mal?
Mal Mal. So okay, so you guys,
Stress.
after Jared proposes to Mallory, she says no. Then proposes to Ayanna, she says yes. They all go to Mexico, right? No one's seen each other at this point. No, none of the couples, the couples that have just gotten engaged have seen each other, but they still have not seen the other people that they quote unquote dated in the pods getting to know.
Yeah.
So when they get to Mexico, they all meet, all 6 engaged couples. And Jared avoids Mallory like the plague. Like, he barely gives her eye contact, and Nick calls him out for it. He's like, you didn't even speak to Mallory yet? I mean, granted, she didn't come over to him, too, but I think she was trying to be respectful to Sal, who she ended up with.
Yeah.
Salvador was amazing. What?
A part of me now, after all the tapes been taped, I think that she still wanted a little pursuit from Jared. That's why she didn't say nothing.
Well, let's talk about that. We're leading up to letting them know what happened. Yeah, I want you to elaborate on that. Because,
Yeah.
I definitely want you to. But basically, you guys, Jared ends up talking to Mallory, and they end up having a long discussion where it gets very flirty. Mind you, they're both engaged to different people. Jared calls out the fact that her ring is not gold and she wanted gold, and says, I knew you don't even like your ring, do you? And she says, no. This man, Salvador, done gave you a ring, and you like, no, to the guy that first asked you to marry him. And then they just proceed to just be very coy and flirty and call each other by pet names. And Jared reassures her, well, I would have gotten you the right ring because I asked you. You know, I would have done that with you. I would have gone to sports games. I would have done those things. As if he's still trying to prove himself that she should still pick him. So, go on. Take it away from here, because I had a lot of issues with that.
Well, I'm honestly at a loss for words the way that played out. I didn't expect them to be so open with each other and so open with how they felt in the pods and how they feel now, because they both were clearly with other people. So, I mean, drinks were involved. However, we can't blame everything on the drinks.
And you know, the drinks only bring out the truth.
That's true. That's a good point. So I really felt for Ayanna and Sal in the situation because they saw it all go down. It wasn't like they had gone away or the party had split up or something. No, they watched the people that they are going to get married to
Potentially, right.
potentially have a very long conversation where there's laughing and all kind of closeness.
The body language, yes, exactly.
So I just don't understand. I just don't understand the boldness of the two of them. It just really was shocking to me.
And you know what I love, though, is how... So Sal, after that, Mallory made a comment to Sal. And remember he was crying on camera? And he was like,
yeah.
I want to go home. Because she basically told him, like, we don't have to get married. So at the reunion, remember Sal brought that up? And he was like, that conversation was very inappropriate. I'm glad he brought that up. Because
Yeah,
we
me
all
too.
wanted to hear it.
Me too.
And even then, Jared insisted it was just a joke.
Yeah.
It was just a joke. It was inappropriate.
Yeah.
It was just a joke.
So do you feel that in this love triangle, the will to be married...
Love square.
Or square, sorry. In this love square, the will to be married was the driving force for all of them being together?
Honestly, okay, I think Ayanna, it wasn't even the will to be married. I think she really loves Jared.
Yeah?
I think she really loves Jared, yep. So I think for her, he was the best person for her, and she's willing to give him another chance because they were under such a time restriction, and maybe he just made the wrong, choice initially. But I think with Jared, I don't know, just I kind of got the feeling from him throughout the season that he was at a point in his life where he was like, well, time to get married, you know?
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think that him deciding to do the experiment was saying that he was ready to be married. However, the way that he was acting outside of the experiment did not say that he was even considering it.
no, I'm not saying he was actually ready. I'm saying he was at a point in his life where he said, I want to be married. You said, do you think people, the will to be married supersedes them being like with the right person?
Yeah.
I'm saying I think with Jared, yes, that's the case.
Okay.
I'm not saying he was ready. No. I honestly think he went about the whole thing wrong. Okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
he ended up with someone wonderful
Yeah.
after that, and forever he should be grateful to her that she still gave him a chance
Yeah.
for the rest of their lives. But the way he was acting, he was not being, to me, mature or respectful.
Yeah. Oh,
Mostly on the respect part, the disrespect part.
I agree. Well, what I
Yeah.
was saying is that, yeah, him going to the experiment says that he wants to be married.
Mm-hmm.
However, whenever they had a conversation about the immature behavior he was having outside of the pods, he knew exactly what to say. So if you know exactly what to say, that means you know exactly what to do, and you're deciding to do something else.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I was
Yeah, yeah.
saying that even though he may have had a will, there was a part of him that didn't want to give up what he already had
Right.
because he was kind of hesitant about it. So I think that I agree with you because it had to be the time in his life that ultimately canceled everything else out. It was like, well, no matter how I feel about X, Y, and Z, this is the time for me to be married.
He didn't right where he really. You're saying right. He didn't really have the emotional maturity
Yeah.
to actually be trying to get married at that point in time.
Oh, yeah.
It was more so a checkbox.
Yeah.
I have my degree, check. My job, check.
Barber chair?
Got a barber chair, check. Got a condo, check. Got all the J's in the world,
Stop.
check. Now it's time to find a wife, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of, honestly, my uncle, may he rest in peace, Uncle Melvin, he told my mom this and she told me this because she's like, do you know this is what your Uncle Melvin said this is how men think. And she said that basically he said most men get married. Well, he said, I think all men, but I know that's not true. But he said most men get married not to the woman that's like, this is the woman for me. I need to be with her. They just one day wake up and go, oh, I think it's time to get married. And they marry whoever they're with at that time in their life. It
Yeah.
don't matter who that person is.
Yeah.
If that's the day that they wake up and say, it's time for me to get married, they gonna marry them.
Yeah.
That's what he said. It's not a lot of men that will be like, you know what? I need to find my match, my mate. And
Yeah.
if this is not the person, then I need to move on. There's not a lot of men that will do that, according to Uncle Melvin.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about that?
I think that is changing or it has changed a lot in the recent years because I think one thing I've noticed is they're getting married later in their lives. One. And two, because of how our society views what men should have, I think that's part of the reason why they're getting married later. Because societal views are shifting to where you're not a man unless you got a house or you don't have X, Y, and Z already lined up. However, on the flip side, I do think it's a societal advancement for a man if you get married. Remember, I was telling you about this when I got married. That is, you're taken more seriously. You get more just acceptance in the workplace. People look at you different. People treat you with more respect. So, because you're like, whoa, you made that life commitment. You found the person you're gonna sleep next to and forever. And it's. I think it's because of how marriage has been presented to us. One, but also I've been doing a lot of 1-2s. I don't know what. I guess I got 2 points for everything today. It has something to do with how our society basically says that in order for you to be a proper man, you have to have a proper woman or a proper whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like,
It's like, oh, you're married? Oh, you're better than me. Remember that's what
Exactly.
that Trey and Kennedy on the guy on
Yeah.
Instagram that makes those sketches.
Yeah.
He always puts that in there because it's like he's pointing out how ridiculous it is. He's like, "Oh, that's right, you're married. You're better than me. Yeah, I should listen to you." Like people
Yeah.
think that some people think when they're married or other people are, they're like, "Oh, they're better. I'm
Exactly.
better now, better than
Yeah.
you."
Well, because I think
And it's like
it's
not true.
pitched to almost all of it. It's like, well, once you get married, you'll be happy forever.
And they lived happily ever
After.
Yeah.
Don't nobody ever tell you about the fights at 2 in the morning.
Okay. Okay.
They trying to
That's
figure
true,
out
they
how the
don't.
seat got left up when
Okay.
wasn't nobody home.
Stop. You are crazy.
It don't make sense, but it makes sense.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
Well, yeah. To answer your question, then I guess you're saying no. You won't ever feel like first place if you were
No, never.
the runner-up.
Never in a million years.
I think it'll always be in your mind just a little bit, which is why I personally couldn't do it. Like I said, I can't speak for anybody else.
Me either.
But me, I don't like it if I'm not number one. I immediately lose interest.
Yeah,
like,
in my life, I'm the star. If I'm not the star in your
Right?
life, if I'm not at least your co-star, no.
yes.
Because also they had that whole part of it where they're always kind of picturing like, what if they had said yes and what would their life be like and who would I be without? You know, that doesn't go away.
Would he have said yes to Malorie at the aisle, like at the altar? You know,
Yeah.
if they had went through with it. If I had gone home and not said yes to Jared, and Malorie said yes to Jared, then would they have gone on and they be married?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I would
it's
be
too
thinking.
much.
It's just rough.
It's too much.
Anyway, but you know what? We have a lot more couples to talk about, but there was so much to talk about with this one that we had to dive deep in there. I think before we go to the break, let's talk about, while we're talking about Malorie and Sal, let's continue to talk about them and finish out their story before we go on break. So Malorie and Sal, because there was a lot of indecision going on during that relationship, right? On Mallory's part.
Yeah.
It seemed like she first says, I don't remember who she was talking to, but someone asked, Jared asked her if she would go for him outside of the experiment. That was another messed up part of that conversation. And she said no. She said no, he's not really the type I go for. Then she told the cameras after meeting him like she wasn't physically attracted to him. But then on the Mexico trip, she slept with him the first night. So I was very confused. She was back and forth. You don't think he's cute, but then you think he's cute enough to sleep with. Then he does all these sweet romantic gestures, and then you could tell she was kind of a little cringy about it sometimes, but she like would take them, but then she would be like, "You're so sweet," and like all lovey-dovey.
Yeah, she was all over the
She
place.
was like very mixed signals, okay? The queen of mixed signals. And that to me wasn't fair to Sal. Because
No.
Sal is there giving his devotion, his 1,000% to her. You know, he's doing mariachi songs, writing songs to her, writing songs and playing them on his ukulele or something. And she was just very hot and cold. So here's my question. So basically, when people are dealing with that, what would be your advice to someone who's experiencing mixed signals or hot and cold behavior from someone that they're either pursuing or interested in? Because I know there are many times where Sal brought that up, and you could tell his intuition was telling him something's off. And he even said, "I don't know if she really likes me as much as I feel for her."
Well, I think it's very important to trust your intuition and trust your initial feeling about someone or something. Because a lot of the time we continually find ways to talk ourselves into what we want, where say for instance, you're not supposed to be having that extra pint of ice cream. Yes, a pint. I used to go crazy. And you're like, but if I eat it now, it's better because if I eat it later, then I won't want it as much as I want it now. Like something dumb.
Yes,
So
yes.
I feel that that's what you kind of end up doing inadvertently if you feel those mixed signals, because there's a part of you that obviously wants to be there, and it's only keeping you there because you're continually convincing yourself that what you're feeling is not what you're feeling, or what you're feeling doesn't mean what it means. So I guess my best advice would be to trust yourself and trust that if you feel off about something, picture that off feeling for the rest of your life.
Ooh. When you put it in that
because
perspective, dang.
that's how it works.
And here's my thing. In the beginning, when you're getting to know someone, obviously it may not be head over heels yet, but there should be feelings strong enough to where you're not giving mixed signals or receiving the mixed signals.
Exactly.
You know, it should be enough to where even if you're not sure if you're going to be in a romantic relation, I mean, like end up being in a relationship, you know, with titles and stuff, at least there should be some type of consistency of how you feel. Okay, whether that be, well, I'm just getting to know you and I'm lukewarm right now. But it shouldn't be hot and cold. It shouldn't be, oh my gosh, you're not my type. But okay, let's get it on. But then also, I'm not really sure. I don't know. I'm gonna pick at every little thing you do and try to poke holes in this relationship early on, which she did try to do. And then be like, oh, you're so wonderful. I'm giving you nicknames. You know what I mean? Like, it's just too much. So in the beginning, it shouldn't be that. It should be all fun and games.
Yeah.
And again, it should be all the, oh, they really like me. Oh, I really like them. And if you find yourself not feeling that, if you're on the other side, just be honest with yourself and as nicely honest to that person. Just bow out gracefully. You know what? You're a great person, but I just don't think this is gonna work. Just do that. Don't go all the way to the altar.
Yeah.
Or further than that, marry the person and you still got lukewarm feelings, or, you know.
It's
My mom used to say mixed signals means no signals.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Don't
true.
they're basically,
Write it down.
they cancel each other out. Positives and negatives, they come to a zero, so you have nothing with that person
Yeah.
if they're giving you mixed signals.
Yeah. I really do think that our society has programmed us to, we gotta fall in love. You have to. I mean, and I'm one of the people that was blessed too. You know, I'm that's coming from the side of having it. So it's one of those where it's like, I don't know now what that other side feels like. So it could be great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As in, I'm not trying to say that if you don't find that love, you're any less of a person. But our society does say that.
That's how they make you feel.
It's like if you wasted your life.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You didn't find a person to eat the other half of the waffle. Sorry. You almost had life with a check mark. You almost got your life check, but you didn't get it now.
Stop.
You know? So it just makes me feel for a lot of people that are in situations that they keep telling themselves it's love because they want love so badly, or they want to be a part of the societal, you know, acceptance so badly, because it's different when you're married. There's a different experience that you have in life.
But also some people, they just really desire that love. Like they want that. And sometimes they're willing to put up with things that they shouldn't, like for fear of, well, if this isn't it, then maybe it'll never be, you know?
Yeah.
And you should, it's hard to not think like that, but just know there's someone out there for everyone. And if there isn't someone that you found, you love yourself. Be the best love of your life to yourself, you know? I feel like that's the best advice. Because you got to love yourself like 1,000%. Above anyone else, whether they love you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
All right. So, thus concludes this first portion. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back soon. Is your mouth feeling stale and tasting like day old coffee? Grab a stank on your breath mint, sure to get rid of any unpleasant odors that are keeping you from greatness. Because when you meet the love of your life, you don't want to remind them of a hot can of tuna. Stank on your breath mints. What's meant to be, will be.
All right, up next, we are going to talk about another very important couple on the season, Deepti and Shake. Okay, Shake is his nickname. It's Abhishek, but, you know, he shakes you up.
Okay, I was about to ask you, why do you think he goes by Shake?
Because he's a DJ, and I think he's like, well, his name is Abhishek, and Shake. You know what I'm saying? It's better than Shrek. He's not going to call himself Shrek.
That's true.
But, yeah, so Deepti and Shake. So, a little backstory about those two. Do you want to give it? I kind of talked a lot last segment. You want to give it, or you want me to? No, I put you on the spot.
I mean, you did put me on the spot.
Okay,
but I got it. Okay. So, They basically the infamous line from the show came from their relationship, and basically Shake was trying to cheat the system and learn more about physical appearance throughout his time in the pods, and he would ask very awkward questions like, "Can I put you on my shoulders? Can I carry you?" First of all, on that real quick, I'm like, bro, you. How do we know how strong you are? That's what I was thinking. Like, what's the barometer of how strong you are? Because if I'm a little woman, but you can't pick me up because you're not strong, that don't mean I'm big. That means you're weak. Anyway, not the point. Not the point.
Yeah. And he even admits that he doesn't work out. He doesn't have a bunch of muscles, which is another whole other thing.
Because everyone's
You're
supposed
judging
to
women,
have
but okay.
perfect women, even if they don't work on it themselves. Anyway, so from that, he did have a really deep connection with Deepti because they had similar backgrounds. They both grew up in India. They related on being heavier set or in their childhood.
Deepti, yeah. She talked
Deepti.
about,
Yeah, and Shake talks about how he used to
Oh,
be as
he
well.
did too?
That was
Oh,
part of the
okay.
reason
I
why
forgot.
they bonded.
Okay, gotcha.
So
They bonded over that. They said they only dated white people before.
only dated white people, yes. That's an important one.
Yeah, they never dated anyone else that was Indian. Like, they're both Indian. They said they had never dated anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they end up getting married. Or getting married. They end up.
No.
They don't get married.
Engaged.
Engaged. I mean, once you go through, I'll be getting all the words mixed up. They end up engaged, and Shake proceeds to body shame her and say that he's not attracted to her in any way, shape, or form. However, it was very rude. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm not really attracted to her. It's like, oh, she reminds me of my aunt, man. It's not funny. It's not funny. But she looked like a family member of mine. It's like kissing my aunt. That's savage. That is absolutely horrible.
It's horrible. And he told everyone who would listen.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But also, this comes after this man said, when he met her, when they first met after getting engaged, this man grabbed her butt, okay? Like, it was like he was holding on to the edge of a cliff for dear life.
Stop.
Okay? Grabbed her butt, proceeded to squeeze it over and over and say, oh my gosh, your booty. Oh my gosh, your booty. You're so hot. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get you pregnant. Literally telling her he just met her 2 seconds ago. I'm going to get you pregnant. And then when they go to Mexico, all of a sudden, when she basically starts to reciprocate the feelings and be like, oh yeah, I can't wait for us to have babies, and oh my gosh, you're so sexy, and making out, all of a sudden then he just like puts up the wall. You can literally see it in his eyes and his body language. A wall comes up. What happened? What the? You done love bombed her, and then all of a sudden you're not attracted to her at all. What? So what do you think is up with Shake? First of all, what is his problem? Because he proceeded to then be disrespectful throughout the relationship as well as the reunion. Like, he was pissing everybody off. Nobody could stand him by the end of that reunion.
That's true.
What's his deal? Why do you think he even went on the show? If it wasn't to actually fall in love sight unseen.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like he was making himself a villain, but it didn't seem like he was trying to. Because over the course of the show, he got progressively worse and more disgustingly blunt and rude and chauvinistic. Yeah. I think the wall came up because he was afraid that the person that she was... I mean, I really think it was that he didn't think that his kids were going to be as attractive.
That's what he
because
was
it came up, because it came up right after she started mentioning specifically babies, and that's when his wall went up.
But she's beautiful. That's what I'm saying, though. Like,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she's beautiful or not. If it's not what he pictured, you can't get past the picture.
I see. He has in his mind that he wants to marry a probably 5'2" blonde white woman.
Yeah.
But he chooses to propose to an Indian woman? Okay.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's also the part of him that's like, actually, no, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it.
That's what I'm saying. He went through the whole process, and he also said a lot of times, Oh my gosh, she's my best friend. She makes me feel like you really thought maybe he was kind of trying to change or be better. And again, mentioned that they were best friends many times, that she just makes him feel a way that no one else ever has. But then you talk about how you're not attracted to your best friend, like how you're not attracted to her whatsoever, to everybody. That's like that's horrible.
It's really hot and cold too. I don't understand. I don't understand why. Like why? I just don't understand. I know I've said it a bunch of times, but I'm trying to comprehend why he would even take the time to do all of this if he was ultimately going to be as mean to her as
And
he
shallow,
was.
yeah. So, do you think, like, as a society, we place too much emphasis on physical appearances, and how could it, be stopping someone from finding that other special someone? Because as you said, he placed so much importance on a specific. This is the thing too. It wasn't just, oh, I date white women. It was a specific white woman, blonde. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Blonde, athletic build, or slim.
Mm-hmm.
I think he even might have mentioned like chest size at some point, maybe. I'm not even sure anymore.
I don't remember Chastised, but I'm not saying it didn't happen. I still remember it.
Yeah, but and I feel like a lot of people. Do you think? Yeah, we just do that too much. We put too much emphasis on very specific, minute things. When you saying you want blondes, but there could be a redhead that's perfect for you, but you're not gonna be with that person because they were born with red hair.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
How much do you think like people miss out on someone because of that?
Well, I think a lot of it is from the media down because they prioritize a certain look in women and men. So, and the whole things of the past, like the whole tall, dark, and handsome thing that still looms. I still hear it every now and then, which is weird. So people think that, and the way that sex is portrayed to us, just as a society, it's everywhere, it's in everything. So we're those two combined are saying that you have to want this type of person, and if you want that type of person, you want to have sex with them all the time and listen to all these different songs and all the everything. So I feel like the two of those combined has really limited connection, because a lot of the time physical connection is the first connections you have, at least if you meet someone in person. However, if that physical connection doesn't go past a certain mental connection, then you have to kind of lie to yourself to be like, well, I can still talk to him or her or they, but I have to force it every time. Even if I can't wait to be intimate with them, I have to force a conversation every time.
I see.
So it just makes me feel that there's a small part of him, emphasis on small, that thought having a best friend as a wife was a good idea. Even if I can't get past the way I thought my life should go. Because I think that's where his bias came from. He's like, well, my life isn't going the way I expected it to.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I wanted to be with a blonde haired woman.
Oh, okay, I
You know what I'm
see.
saying?
So he's like, fine, you'll do.
Yeah. Yeah. He's, taking it in stride, I guess. Like, I'm in the situation, she's into me. Why not get married?
Yeah.
So but I do think you miss a lot when you focus on the physical primarily,
That's true.
because there's so much there's so much of a person that's beyond what they look like.
Yes.
How do they treat you? I mean, that's important, obviously.
Right.
How do they treat themselves? Do they treat themselves with respect? Are they always mean to themselves? Like whatever
Yeah.
your criteria is, it's very important to have, you know, those conversations, those talks, because as we know, physical changes. You're not going to look the
Yeah.
same way forever.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's the person's character and their, personality and how they are that's most important. And obviously, we're not saying that physical attraction's not important.
Not at all.
Like that's an important part of being with someone potentially for the rest of your life. You want to be physically and sexually attracted to them. But yeah, to your point, I think people place it's not even so much about that. They're just more some people are only the criteria is this weird list of shallow things that they don't dictate whether you're attracted to this person or not, or whether you really get along. They will eliminate someone from the potential list if they're not a certain height,
Mm-hmm.
or, if their eye color is not what they thought they wanted. Things like that, things that you can't control, and things that have nothing to do with that person. Those are not good reasons to not be with, someone who could totally change and uplift and, just impact your life in a great, amazing way and give you true love, give you real love, So, yeah.
I think it's hard to accept when your future isn't what you wanted it to be, or more so planned it to be. Because I think that comes in a lot of play with a lot of people when they feel that their person, that whoever they're supposed to be with, it has to be this type of person because that's what I'm most attracted to. You know what I'm saying? And they miss an opportunity to get to know someone. However, they're so they feel a certain way about it because they built the picture up so much in their minds. They're like, this, it has to be this way because it's the way I saw my life going. And if it's not going that way, then I feel that they can't be the one.
I just had a thought. I think I finally figured out what was up with Shake. Like, from you just saying that, you just pointed me in this direction. Yeah, I think, with some people, they have, right, this image of who they're supposed to be with based on whether it's their family or what society tells them.
Mm-hmm.
That when, like you said, they're faced with something else, they don't have it within them to go, no, I'm going to reject that notion that I have to be with this type of person. And I think you're right. Shake, in his mind, feels like, first of all, I think he thinks that white women are a status symbol.
Oh, yeah.
They are like the ultimate, like, that is who you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that means you've made it. That means I was so amazing that this white woman wanted me, which is, that's messed up. That's already messed up in itself. It's like you as a minority feeling like, oh, I was chosen. But I think that's what it is with him. He has this idea of, okay, I'm a vet. I drive this certain car. Doesn't he drive a Tesla or something like that?
So, yeah.
He has certain things that are
Tesla,
just very
yeah.
specific, like to a certain image that he's trying to convey.
Yeah.
And that's brought up in a conversation he had with Deep D when they were eating sushi.
Mm-hmm.
He said, let's rate these pieces of sushi as we eat them, instead of just being able to just eat them. And she was like, okay. So they tried a piece, and she said, this is great. I give it a 10 out of 10. And he said, I'm going to give it like a lower number just because I haven't had the other pieces of sushi yet. And she said, wait, do you have to always compare things? Because, she said something basically along the lines of, like, comparison is the thief of joy. She didn't say those exact words, but she was basically pointing out to him, like, when you start to compare things, it's not a good place to go. And you can't just go through life comparing things, as if, well, I won't pick this because what if something better comes along? And that's what he said. He said, I do that all the time. It's like this idea that I can't be with this person because what if something better comes along? Or maybe I don't buy this pair of shoes because what if a better pair of shoes I see later? It's like, you got to just go with your heart and you just can't go through life always doing that. And especially when it comes to matters of the heart and with people, but that was his thing. He always, to me, was always striving for, what did I see for myself? And what did someone tell me should be my life? And that's why I was so proud of Deepti when she decided to choose herself at that altar. She said, why am I giving, like, all the power to a man? I never want to be in that situation where I'm like, I hope he picks me. And she took that off the table and said, I can't marry you. I'm choosing myself. And she walked down that aisle and left the building. And I think she basically empowered a lot of women that day. A lot of women to do the same thing if they're not feeling like their needs are met and they're not being appreciated, So kudos, Deepti. Like, that was powerful.
Yeah, it was.
So, yeah, I just, but to that point, we were talking about people with certain, like, ideas of where their life should be. That makes me think about parents' influence on who their kids pick. Do you have any kind of things you want to say or, like, say about that? Or did we see that this season? Like, ways that our parents, or not only just society, but they impact who we may pick or be with,
Well, in the show, I didn't see outside of Mallory's.
Kyle and Shayna.
Yeah, their parents. Yeah.
On top.
Outside of not Natalie, Lord, her name is
Outside
Natalie.
of Shake or well, outside of who?
I just said it. What was? I'll come back to them. We'll do Kyle and Shannon first.
Yeah, because
So
there's parental influence.
there's a lot of parental influence with that. I think that it depends on the type of parents that you have, and what they view for your life, and because it's similar to what we were talking about before. They when they had this picture built up in their mind with their child is supposed to be with this type of person, and that person's supposed to either look like this or have this type of job or do this type of thing. I think that it gets muddled with what's actually best for the person, because the fantasy you create in your mind doesn't necessarily mean that your child is happy. They just may have all the things that you feel like they should have.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important, with when you're choosing to be with someone. Do you decide what your parents would think would be the best for you? Is that how you pick? Or do you pick with what you know is best for you?
Yeah, I think you experienced that.
Okay, yeah, but yeah.
Sometimes people don't want their child to be with a certain person, and you just have to decide, right? Is it
Yeah.
like me that's choosing because I'm the one that's got to be with this person, or you, mom and dad, or whoever
Yeah.
is your guardian? That's why it comes back to the whole thing of like when people ask for the blessing, I think it's a nice thing, but I feel like if you don't get the blessing, that's okay. Do what you want to do. Like Kyle and Shayna. So Kyle is atheist. Shayna was very like religiously Christian. Like
Yeah.
to the point where she doesn't believe in evolution,
Yeah.
among other things. Not knocking that she's a Christian, just the whole evolution thing kind of throws me when people say,
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I'm like, but there's science anyway. This to her was very important because she, grew up in a Christian home and she really wanted that for her kids. So, even though despite that, Kyle did propose to her and she accepted, but then when they went to meet the parents, her parents, there was like this awkward energy. Once they asked him, they asked him, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Is that how they asked? I forgot. They didn't say, are you Christian?
They said, do you believe in Jesus, I think.
Yeah, something like that. They didn't say like,
Yeah.
what faith were you raised or whatever.
Yeah.
And basically her mom, Kyle asked her mom for the blessing and she said, I can't give it to you because my daughter needs someone who's going to lead her in her Christian faith.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, let's just be real, Shayna didn't really want to marry Kyle, as we saw from sitting at home.
Yeah.
He didn't realize it at the time because she wasn't being as forthcoming. She kept bringing up like, well, we're different religions and we're going to always fight about it, which may be true. But she just kind of brought it up, but then would like, let it go.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't get the blessing. But my thing is, if you don't get the blessing, is that really going to stop you if you really want to be with someone?
I mean, I guess it depends on how independent you are from your family.
Yeah.
And if they are the main influence in your decision-making process, Because I think there's something to be said about the importance of trusting your own path and knowing that the path that you choose for yourself will ultimately make you the happiest at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because you got to live with yourself.
Yeah.
Because whenever you make a decision based on someone else, then that decision is forever tainted. Mm-hmm. Because you know that without their influence, that's not what you would have done. That's not how you would have, continued your life.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the time, the optimism or the thought of something possibly being better than what it feels at a certain moment or in the beginning, for instance, can outweigh your realizing that it's not what you need. You know, you're like, well, I got to be positive about it. I got to see it through. I got to see what could possibly happen.
Yeah.
However, that's not necessarily, like, it's not something you have to do. So when it comes to your parents' influence, following what they say and trusting them just to see if they were right will ultimately lead you down the wrong path. Because you couldn't, or you didn't more so, trust what you felt.
Right.
And that nagging will always be in the back of your head whenever the decision is made, or whenever the person that you're with does something you don't like, or
Yeah.
whenever you're reminded of the person you felt like you should have been with. It's always going to come back, and it's going to feel just as raw as it did the first day.
Regrets.
Yeah, because that's the thing about emotion. I feel like a lot of our society is still learning, myself included, is that if you make a decision and it's not the decision you want to make, and you know it's wrong for you, it's gonna hurt like the first day every time you think about it.
Yeah.
Because emotions are like one note.
And it's still an open wound, I feel like. It's
Thank
just never,
you.
it's like, it hasn't been healed.
Yeah.
So it's always going to feel raw, you know?
And awkward.
Yeah. Well, now you just reminded me, too, since we were talking about Kyle and Shayna, and this, you know, her deal breaker of not being the same religion. She kept bringing that up, but we knew at home, we knew what the real reason was. She was still hung up on another connection she made with Shane. And Shane was like, you know, big loud white guy, you know, she was a loud white girl. But like Shane was making a connection with Natalie. So ultimately that's who he chose, right? And Shayna just, she couldn't accept that and tried to throw darts at the relationship.
Oh, yeah. Many darts.
Many times. To the point where she even told Shane that his relationship with Natalie was a joke.
Yeah.
Remember? Like, she's telling him to his face,
That's savage.
your relationship's a joke. Like, what do you guys even have in common? And then privately called Natalie and said, hey, if it doesn't work out with Shane, I have a friend for you. Are you serious, girl?
Sloppy.
So
Just take the L. Take the L and go home.
And don't accept another man's proposal when you're still thinking about another man. And then and it's his mama's ring on top of that. His mom's ring. You're going to take a family heirloom and be like, okay, knowing you still want to be with someone else?
That's terrible.
Terrible. Yeah. It's like Kyle said at the reunion. He wondered why she wasted his time. He was like, what did Maxine Waters say?
What?
About my time, reclaiming my time. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to reclaim his time. Because for him, he's like, why did you even say yes to me? Because she wanted to stay on the show.
That's what we had thought before. And that's what Shake said.
And that's what Shake said. Even though everybody hates him, I do it. That was the only time Shake was ever right in this whole series. He was like, did you just want to stay on the show? Yes.
So everyone's thinking it. We were.
She did. She went to Mexico and then left the first night. Didn't even tell Kyle. She's like, I think we should sleep in separate rooms. Okay, what separate rooms? He's like, I could sleep on the couch. You can sleep on the bed. No, separate hotel rooms. And then we see a shot of her walking down the hall with her white hotel robe, dragging her suitcase. And then she just goes home. Like, why? Yeah, I think she thought she was like, I need to still get to Shane. I need to have access to him, and I won't have that if I'm not on the show.
Yeah, I agree.
But what do you think about Shane and Natalie's relationship? Let's talk about them because he was between Shayna and Natalie and ultimately chose Natalie.
Yeah.
There were a few snafus in there.
Snafu is a kind word. I feel that they're just really mean to each other, like collectively mean over the course. If you put their whole relationship together in one little box.
Yes.
It's a box of mean. Shane kept having the feeling that Natalie was too rough on him and not showing enough affection to him, both verbally and physically. And Natalie would say little side remarks and, whatever, and say that he was fishing for compliments and that whole thing. And for Natalie's part, I feel that Shane was more extroverted than she was ready for.
Yeah.
And seeing him out in the open doing his extroverted thing, it was a lot for her. And I feel that after watching it, I feel that she felt that way possibly because she's not typically the life of the party herself. Not saying she's boring.
Yeah.
She's just not the person that everyone comes to because she wants attention or because they need attention from them or whatever.
Gotcha.
So I think that's what her whole issue was. They ultimately didn't get married, thank God. Oh
Because
God.
he like blew up at her the night before the wedding and said, "You're the worst thing that ever happened to my life. I hate you." And then, but then was like, "But we're getting married the next morning, right?"
How do you can't come back from that? You can't come back from I hate you. And you know he didn't say it
No.
like I hate you.
Right.
It was I hate you.
And he had been drinking too on top of it.
It's like maybe you were drinking too much. Maybe he was.
And it's like we don't know how the argument started. You know, Natalie, again, like we said, Natalie would say some pretty hurtful things to Shane, but still at the same time,
Like
it's not right.
saying that he looks like a piece of shit.
Yes. She's like, "You're a piece of shit." Like, what?
That was terrible.
But
it's like, put your shirt back on. I don't want to see
yes.
it.
But still, that doesn't, you should never tell someone you hate them.
Oh, no.
Wish that they were the worst thing that ever happened to your life. And really quickly, they were very opposite. Like, opposites attract.
Yeah.
But to me, I did not see any compatibility between them. That's just me. I think they had a very strong attraction and desire to get married.
Well, I think their only compatibility was their goofy side.
Yes, they were very silly.
I think they
and
bonded on the goofs.
That's true. On the goofs. Yes, they bonded on the goofs.
That's pretty much it.
And they seemed to have a lot of fun together, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
they had a great time. But it was they didn't fight fair. Natalie, for some reason, she lacked the capability to give him words of affirmation.
Yeah, it was real
She
weird.
was like a black mama, okay?
Stop.
Where they be like always talking about you and saying things about you to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
But like they love you. They always be like, "You don't never do nothing right. You don't do this, you don't do that. What you over there singing? You know you ain't got no voice to sing that song. Why you wearing that? Oh, child, you wear the craziest clothes." Like, they be saying stuff,
And they be
like,
wondering
they
why you
cut you down.
They're like, "But why you in the mouth or nothing?" Because you've been chopping my tree of life down since the womb.
How come you don't take more risks and go after things?
Because you scared me. I'm scared.
It's like she was like a typical classic black mama.
Stop.
And I'm sure, I feel like I've heard of other, things like African mamas do this. I think Asian mamas, maybe, I think I've heard do this. But like, they just like talk
Is it
about
just a
their
mama
kids.
thing? Well, nah, daddies be doing it too. Parents, they all be doing it. Sometimes you got a mixed bag. Sometimes it's a daddy, sometimes it's a mama.
But I feel like black mamas are
everybody
notorious
trash.
for doing that.
Well, we are black. So those are the mamas that we've experienced most.
I'm saying, even on TV shows and stuff,
That's TV.
Everybody else can see it too.
That's TV.
No, everybody else can
Wait,
see
are
it.
you not going to be a black mama yourself?
I am, but I'm saying other ethnicities can even attest to that, because they see how the mamas talk about on TV
What's
shows,
today?
the black mamas.
Let me write this down. Let me make sure you ain't cutting our kids down.
Yeah, I'm working on that. Because remember I told you.
Now you're working on it.
No. Remember I told you, like, remember I used to do that to you. I used to be like Natalie. Remember? I used to always be like,
of course I
poking
remember.
at you and
I just
stuff.
wasn't gonna say
But I
anything.
like, but see, hey, I don't mind, because that's what I'm saying. Like, this is, honesty. You know what I mean?
Real talk.
Real talk. Like, I used to be like that. I used to like poke at you and kind of make, play for fun, but it wasn't fun for you. And then you would tell me about it, and you would tell me I genuinely hurt your feelings. I'm like, well, I'm just messing with you. But it's because that's what I grew up hearing. So honestly, I'm working on that with you, so that I don't do that with kids. Because I can't just all of a sudden wake up and be like, okay, well, done doing that. Let me make sure I don't do it to the kids.
Oh, exactly.
I got to work on it beforehand.
Same with me and my yelling. I used to be a yeller. I'm not yelling as much anymore.
It's funny you said that on another episode.
But hey, it's open, it's real talk. But let's also say this. I have never said I hate you or wish that you didn't happen to be in my life, or whatever he said. Because people are going to be like, well, if she did what Natalie did he do what Shane did and didn't want to say it on air? Well, there it is. I didn't do it.
Oh
Confirmed.
Oh my gosh.
Confirmed.
No, but I mean, I just...
You gotta confirm it.
Confirm.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, I was just already thinking to the next thing I was going to say. Confirm.
I'm just not helping my case here.
No, but it's just like, what I'm saying is like, it was a thing that they needed to work on. But I think ultimately it was Shane going too far. You got to fight fair. You know what I'm saying? In arguments, things you say have lasting effects.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that, because this is the thing. They called each other best friend. I think they were the only couple really that I heard throwing that around a lot, saying Oh, except for Shake. He always said, she's my best friend. Both people did not treat the other person like a best friend.
They didn't.
So it's like, you're saying they're your best friends and everything, because maybe you have the fun aspect of it.
Yeah.
But if you're really like, oh, this is my best friend, look and see if you really are treating that person like your best friend. Was that what you would say to your best friend? Is that how you would treat them? Is that how you would talk to them? You know? Because, yeah, nobody's perfect, but you just gotta, like, when you being told about yourself, really start to look inside. There's a reason why you're being told that.
It's so hard to look inside and look at yourself. However, it's necessary. And not even just for your flaws, you know, for your good stuff too. Because I feel that a lot of the time, the good things that the things I'm naturally good at were things that weren't necessarily celebrated by society. So I would constantly have to tell myself, like, oh, it's good to go out and do that play. Or it's good to go out and be obsessed with that movie or whatever. I for a long time, had to constantly convince myself of that too. So I want to put that out there as well, to remind yourself of your own love. You gotta love yourself. Self-love.
What does RuPaul say? If you don't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else?
I was
love
like,
that.
you put it out there for me to say it, and I was like,
oh my gosh,
I was gonna say it wrong, or I didn't remember.
But it's true. You gotta love yourself. But you know what? There was one couple that we didn't talk about, but spoiler alert, they got married, so they didn't have a lot of problems. Nick and Danielle, they had some issues. Okay, they had some issues.
I do want to mention the whole breaking of furniture.
Please, go ahead.
Because that's funny. I know I jumped in the deep end here. However, basically, they had a good time on the pods, shared some things, shared some laughs.
They were the first couple to get engaged.
They had their little fun, whatever. The meeting the families was pretty good. Nick's family was a little ugh.
Nick's family was weird.
Yeah. Then after that, they had a few arguments, a couple things. She was sick. Then they had an argument. And then they got back together, and then they were physical, as he said. Still grosses me out.
Okay.
And then they got married. So, the one thing I do want to talk about is Danielle had friends, and she said that her friends party so hard that they break furniture.
In her home. It's
like, oh yeah, tables been broken before.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I would have asked you this whole time. I'm happy I waited to ask you now. What did they do to break the table?
Probably several of them. Probably one of them got on top of the table, probably dancing. Then another said, let me join. Then another said, let me join. Then another said, let me join. And then the table broke.
That makes sense.
I
don't know why I thought someone threw it or something.
No, I'm telling you, a bunch of people just got up on the table and they were all like, yeah, we're all getting on the table. Come on.
My thing is, like, that's not
your idea of fun.
No.
Remember, they did have that issue a little bit where he was like, I don't know about her maturity level because there was an age difference between them. But
I don't put my rock band away. It's out so I can play whenever I'm inspired.
And Nick was like, I'm not about that life. That was me like 10 years ago. You know, he was like, I'm past that phase. I'm not letting nobody break my furniture. I got nice furniture.
And the wiener dog suits?
She wears costumes like around the house just for fun. And then there was all the toxic arguments as well. Like her constantly saying, just being distrusting of him and then hurling accusations that were unwarranted.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got past it, you know, and they seemed very happy. That video they showed of them at the reunion, it was very cute, very nice. They're melding. They're melding.
They worked it out.
But yeah.
My favorite thing though of them is his face when he asked her, "So you wear these around the house?" And she said yes. And he was like, "When there's not an occasion?" And she's like, "Yeah, I just wear them around the house sometimes. Sometimes I open the door and I'll be a piece of corn."
Okay, he said, right? I'll be a piece of corn. Tomorrow it might be a slice of bread with some peanut butter.
Do you remember in the reunion we found out he already had one?
He has a costume now. Yeah.
Oh, did he have it already?
No, he got that from being with her.
Okay.
He got into it.
That's what I was about to say. I thought he had already had one. He was sneak judging her. I'm like, you got one yourself.
That's marriage, you know, melding your lives. Now he's wearing costumes for no reason around the house.
Okay, it's not the costume. It's the type of costume to me. For me, if it was like, hey, I want to be fucking Batman every day. You can be my Catwoman.
Right.
And we just walk around in Batman and Catwoman suits.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, it's a little off
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
However, empowering.
It's what they want to do, right?
Walking around as a dog, not a
Stop.
dog, a hot dog
In a bun.
in a bun with toppings. You gotta remember. You gotta
Just on a
mention the
Wednesday night watching This Is Us.
Yeah.
You
Oh my
know?
god. Okay, this is meta. If they got ketchup on their hot dog suit.
Okay,
That was
stop.
real meta for
Done.
me.
Done. Get out. With that, we'll be back. We're taking a break. We'll be back. If this show is giving you all the laughs and fun that you need, be sure and check out some of our previous episodes. From Independence Day to Bliss featuring Selma Hayek and Owen Wilson, to the reality show Undercover Boss or Thunder Force with Melissa McCarthy and the Octavia Spencer. We cover all genres of TV and film. So make sure you tune into those. But first, back to this week's episode.
Welcome back. I love doing
Okay,
that. I've
gosh.
done it like 12 times. I don't care. I'm keep doing it. Get
We'll do
used
it
to it.
forever.
So, it's been a pleasure, everyone. Thank you for listening. It's
Yes.
been fun in the sun.
It's been great. Come back, for next episode. We aren't gonna say what it is yet, but it'll be just as fun as this one.
We're going to pull it off a hat.
Yeah.
No, we're not. I'm kidding. We already
We
did
already
it.
pre-planned it.
Yeah, it's already been planned.
We're trying to act like we're spontaneous, but we're not.
We're not.
Not in that sense.
Not in any sense.
Not when it comes to the business.
Or food preparation.
That's true. But yeah, thanks for listening. This was fun. Any closing remarks, Jalen? Do you think love is? We'll say this. Maybe this will close.
Oh,
Do you think
God.
Love Is Blind is actually like legit like way to meet someone and marry a good potential mate? Do you think it could lead to true love?
If almost is what my answer. Because if they had a thing where there was no pressure to be married like that, I think it has real potential of working. Mm-hmm. However, the time element will always be something that I feel takes a little credibility away from the process.
Okay.
Because like even our whole thing, what if we only had 2 weeks?
Yeah,
It's
don't
too
think
much.
I would have been like.
I would be like, could we keep dating? I'm like young as fuck.
Actually, no. If we had 2 weeks, honestly, I think.
Well, we almost did.
What?
Remember?
2 weeks.
No, it wasn't 2 weeks. It was about a year or so, or like something like that. We were like, we should get married in Vegas.
Oh yeah.
We did say that.
That's true. Well, no,
But that was a year though.
Yeah, but I'm saying if I talked to you every day, several times a day for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I think I definitely would have chosen you.
Oh yeah, I would have chosen you. I'm not talking about that. I'm
know.
talking about the pressure to be like, well, y'all got 4 weeks to be married.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the choosing part.
Yeah.
No.
I see. Okay.
So that's the only thing I'm like,
That makes you go,
almost.
I don't know.
Almost. Pause.
I feel you. I agree with you. I think you can meet the love of your life on this show, but I also think you cannot, and you have to be open to that and not try to force it.
Yeah.
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 So that's cool. All right. We'll see you again. Well, you'll listen to us again, hopefully, because this show is blind. You can't see us.
I was like, well, I heard you say we'll see us. I'm like, is there something I don't know about?
We'll see you again.
Is there something recording us right now that I don't know about?
One day we will film the episode.
Mark it in your calendars.
You can see us and know that we are not catfishing you.
Yes. Mark that we said we would film it on
We are
this
not
day.
aliens recording a show from a galaxy far away. We are, in fact, people. I know there's some people at home thinking we're aliens.
I know you're a person.
Yeah. But is Jalen
Jerry's up on what I do.
Anyway.
Maybe I'm a dog.
Let's go. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great week. Take care.
Bye.